You are listening to Fantha tracks.
We've all heard stories of the Mandalorian bounty hunter and a child.
You're listening to Making Tracks Reaction Chat, breaking down the latest in Star Wars programming.
I'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
Here are your hosts,
We need a professional.
Mark Mulcaster and Mark Newbold.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Hello and welcome to this very special live walking around London Mandalorian and Grogu reaction chat. So it's Monday night, 18th of May. We've just had the media screening, or a media preview I should say. We've been at the BFI IMAX just by Waterloo, and we've just seen the full film. So, first big spoiler, I was pleasantly surprised as to how much Rot of a Hutt was in this film.
Absolutely. I think they did a blinder in the marketing for kind of making it feel like we got Jeremy Allen White. We were really lucky to get Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
And he's in the film, and they gave no indication of how much Rot is in the film.
Because like, you literally think, I think from watching those trailers, that he is basically
just in the gladiator
It's
scenes.
just going to be the gladiator scene. It's going to be a 5-minute fight, and he'll probably get a couple of lines, and he's done. But he is the supporting.
He's the
like,
second
actor.
lead,
yeah, basically.
pretty much.
Yeah. So you kind of go, well, actually, if they had him out on all the promotional tours and stuff, that would probably have given it
That would
away.
have blown it.
That would have totally blown him.
In the same way that it was a brilliant twist that Hamill was sort of involved in promoting Force Awakens.
Yes.
In terms of in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was a genius
ironically
stroke.
the opposite.
Yeah, the exact opposite, yeah.
For me, there was times in that middle section, after Mando's been captured by the Hutts, he's been bitten by this was it a
Dragon snake.
Dragon snake, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That whole, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes was it?
Comfortably.
Yeah. Purely just Grogu. But I think he kind of held it. I think he held it together.
Yeah.
I think there's some really good performance and nuance in his performance.
Very
that
much.
actually means that you could quite comfortably
You're
get
rooting
away
for
with
him.
that.
And yeah.
It's a bit of a break because really, for the most part, this film is fairly non-stop. It's just action.
That's a really good point, actually. It does slow right down, and just talking to some of the guys in the theatre before we left, just to get first views, and pretty much everybody was like, yeah, that was great, that was fine, that was good. Nobody's leaping up and down thinking this is the second coming, and I don't think anybody was ever expecting it to be. Partly because of its roots, partly because of how long we've waited for it. Multiple reasons. It's probably what Star Wars needs right now to take us through 2026 and get us into the 50th anniversary year. It's going to keep the wheels on the wagon. We've got Starfighter coming. So, there's other things on the horizon. But that being said, the action was tip-top. When that got cooking, that really cooked. And so that scene, as you just referred to in the middle section, where it does slow down when Mando's injured and Grogu steps up, it was really sweet, actually. It was nicely played.
It was really sweet. There's a couple of really kind of quite funny comedic moments.
Yeah.
Which I'm always not a huge fan of taking the tension out of the scenes. Yeah. But even I kind of chuckled a couple of times.
Yeah.
To that. I do kind of probably prefer my Star Wars a little bit more serious than lighter-hearted. I guess you can say there's definitely a member berry there. He gets kind of like the Gimmist stick, a bit like Yoda.
Big time gets the Gimmist stick.
And basically builds a mud hut, a bit like Yoda's kind of like in some
that's true. I never thought of that, but yeah.
Although I wasn't sure if he was going to cook Mando because it looked like a kiln actually.
It did look like a kiln. No, there's some funny stuff in there. Obviously, when he's trying to fit him in the hole, can't get him in there. There's little moments that just had humour and all of that element to it. The music was sweet as well. The music was really good all the way through those sequences. Just stepping back earlier into the film, the whole sequence with the twins. I mean, again, we just said it. There's characters from Book of Boba. There's creatures from all through the trilogies.
And actually, I would probably say slight twist. It's probably a Man because of the fact the only other one I'd really pay attention to
Jedi.
It's the one in Jedi, and I know he's kind of fairly deep background kind of character in that. But in my mind, you can go, well, if he's in Jabba's palace, he's probably a little bit more sentient. But these ones felt a little bit more kind of wild and feral. Yeah. Now that could just be that actually he might be the one in Jabba's palace is just the unique one, or maybe actually this is something that the Hutts have kind of cultivated, and these are kept as pets. And
I don't know what the current canon status or background on a man is.
If there is much.
If there is much, but you kind of look at them being in Jabba's palace now, and you'd think, well, they're probably muscle like Gamorrean guards or muscle, because in this, they're aquatic as well. You can see them underwater.
Why would they be on Tatooine? That'd be dry as anything.
It's not the best place for them, is it? It's not the best place.
Hello, I'm Warwick Davis, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
We get around a bit. I mean, we've seen Navarro.
I tell you what, at that point, I was like, oh, are we going to see Gina Carano? Is she going to be the new...
17 seconds of Gina Carano. We had that at the weekend, mate. We're already... I know.
Yeah. I was like, oh, is this where she gets reintroduced as the new mayor of...
That's a great point. I was half expecting, I was looking out, and maybe it's in there and maybe I didn't see it. Some sort of Grief Karga statue or something.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I didn't spot it. But it was so nice to be back on Navarro. You had that nice shot as well where you see where Mando's hut is, Mando and Grogu live, and you're kind of looking down on the city. Yeah. Because you see the Anzellans coming in.
You see how developed it is.
Yeah.
Again, Grief kind of says in season 3, like about how it's like in the middle of like various different hyperspace.
It's in a good spot.
It's a good spot, so it's going to bring lots of trade in that, and he was actively, busily developing it. And I was also then thinking, is this kind of like the push into the next era of Mando because his like cottage gets destroyed? But I mean, I know he blows the roof off it literally.
I think he could fix that up.
I think it's fixable. It's not too kind of bad. But
it was great to see the Razor Crest, or a new Razor Crest, but and it's never looked and never moved as good as that. Well, some of the movement of that ship was freaking awesome.
Yeah, the inter-atmosphere.
Yeah, the dogfight.
The dogfight.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
That was brilliant, and it was really well shot. And actually, what I really liked was if they were shooting a documentary, they'd use a GoPro or something like or Panasonic GH5 just on the side of the cockpit looking up. Yeah, and that, so you kind of got that quite interesting shot because I'm guessing that was all done in volume, so you can see all that.
For all the light reflection and all that stuff.
So that felt really natural and looked really great.
It did.
And also the kind of speeder chase through Shikari. Yeah. They did a lot of like POV stuff, which again we haven't really seen quite so much since Return of the Jedi.
That clip was out there before. It's the scene with Grogu flicking the switch, he's shooting the missiles, and that sequence was really, really good. Really showed what a great character, and I think in the future could very easily become Mando's co-pilot, Zeb.
Yeah,
he really was awesome in this. I mean, we love Zeb. He was brilliant in Rebels, obviously. We saw him briefly in Ahsoka. Oh, was it Ahsoka? No, it was Mando season 3, wasn't it? We saw him at the end of Mando season 3.
Just a couple of
That's
couple
right.
shots.
It's still Steve Bloom doing the voice, so all of that was fantastic. That character really, to me, really stood out as something special.
He was kind of there as like a bit of an anchor to Mando.
Yeah.
Also, can you tell is imparting his experience as well. He's a seasoned pilot.
He's been with them a while at this point, and like Mando's still new to it. Mando does what Mando does. He's got his own style, his own way of doing things. But what comes through as well from the film is just what a good guy Mando is.
Yeah,
he's a kick-ass guy. He's a parent, isn't he? You can't say anything other than he's the dad and Grogu's the kid, and that relationship's brilliant. And they didn't sugar-sweet it too much.
Hi, I'm Duncan Poe, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
It's an issue with Rebel pilots. Some of the lines can be a bit perfunctory. He's on your tail, look out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So that is a bit sort of from the playbook sort of stuff. I will say one thing that I really didn't like. I never minded Filoni turning up as Trapper Wolf. I didn't mind any of the directors turning up in very brief cameos in the TV series, but there are more than one scenes with those guys in this. Yeah. And I think I said to you after it finished, I found that staggeringly vain, and that's maybe a bit strong, and some people might pop for it, and most people won't have a clue who they are. But I've got to say, if George Lucas inserted himself into a Star Wars film like that, and Dave didn't direct this, Dave is a second unit on this, John directed this, and it's one of those things, and he is a pre-existing character in the canon and so on and so forth. That just makes the New Republic look like there's only about a dozen people in it. And you do see Filoni sitting at the bar with his hat on, and it's like, no, that pulled me right out. I did not like that.
I mean, my only gripe with the pilot stuff was that we didn't have any chin straps on the helmets.
You old costumer.
I know. And actually, to be fair, Sigourney Weaver's Mike Stork was doing some really interesting shapes, but that's just one of those things. Other than that, costume-wise, there was nothing to really grumble about.
No, costume-wise was great. There's some really good stuff. I can see Hasbro having a field day with some of those figures, and Lego and all the other merch guys. There's plenty to like in there. The Anzellans, I worried that the Anzellans might be too much. I thought it was just right. I thought they were humorous. But Shirley Henderson's a genius with what she does. That worked really well.
For me, there's maybe just a couple of little bits too much, but
they have a purpose. They're not just there to sell toys. They're doing stuff.
Yeah, you kind of get the notion from the promotional stuff that Grogu kind of goes off on his own little adventure, and actually that little adventure with the Anzellans isn't that long.
No, so it's really well played.
Yeah. You know,
and there's a logic to everything that they do as a little unit. You know, we've seen like, you know, the tested thing when you see the little Anzellan ship.
Yeah.
Obviously, Grogu's like a giant in there.
Yeah.
Like Andre the Giant size compared to the others, which is hilarious. And all of that. And obviously, Mando's not going to fit in that.
No.
But the way they come back and who they bring with them is it's just it's great.
Yeah.
It's like R5 when he goes off from Mandalore and goes and brings people back. You know.
Yeah. This film will probably appeal to a younger audience.
Yeah.
Now, actually, interestingly, I thought when I sat there watching it, I don't know what the rating is. Do we know what
That's
rating
a great question.
Because
I don't know. I think it might be a 12, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could be a 12.
Probably a PG, but it could be a 12. There's some hard hits in this.
I was going to say this because that was the thing. I was thinking they've kind of gone really cute on some scenes, but then like the violence, and
especially with the Amanaman characters.
Yeah,
with
there's a couple of jump scares which you know some people kind of don't like anyway. But there was, by the very nature, there's a lot of violence, and because some of it was, you know, against stormtroopers and stuff like that. I think one of them gets like a knife to the side and then, you know, gets incinerated and that. Yeah. It's not graphic. I mean, it's still kind of very much Star Wars fantasy kind of like violence.
It's full
on.
But
it's fairly full on in places. So that'll be interesting to see, because then the thing is, if it is a 12, I think we've missed a boat. I think some of it is skewed a little bit younger than maybe what we've kind of expected.
That's a really fair comment. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think, again, on second and third viewing, I know I've got another 2 viewings this week. I think you've got 3. 4. Okay. So yeah, you know, I think watching it again, we'll get more of a flavour and more of a sense. We've got to say, this is Reaction Chat. This is our first reactions to seeing it the first time, and we're going to be talking about this film for ages on Making Tracks, and our opinions might adjust and change the more we see it.
Hopefully they will, just because it happens with every single film. It does, you know, and this will be the thing, how we view Star Wars today is different to how we viewed Star Wars 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know?
First time I saw Phantom Menace, as people who listen know, I did not get it. Now Phantom Menace really is one of my absolute favourite Star Wars films, but I've seen it 100 times. I'm not saying I'll see this 100 times, but
you don't know. You don't know what happens, because also we don't know what's coming around the corner other than Starfighter, and we don't know what maybe this could lead on to.
For everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video and social media feeds, bookmark FanthaTracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
Having seen that, do you think there's more likelihood of a Mando and Grogu 2 or a Grogu and Mando, or of a season 4?
I think they possibly could do a season 4. I think that it will probably come down to how well it does.
Yes.
I think if it does surprisingly well, and I think all of us in the screening was probably thinking 450 to maybe like
450 to 550. I think would be a decent, decent knock for this now.
I mean, I reckon like it would have to be like an astonishingly good weekend to get like 700.
And there's a random variable that gets thrown in the mix, because we've just talked about the action and the visuals, and TV shows have great action and great visuals. That's not unique to cinema like it used to be. Back in Star Wars' day, back in the 70s and 80s, that kind of action was exclusive to cinema. You didn't see that on the television. No. Now you can see amazing stuff on the television. But the humour and the Grogu-ness of that film, that might just captivate a new audience. It might just pull more bums on seats.
I think it could do. I think it will probably appeal to much more of a, like, you know, the female audience. And you know, I hate kind of saying that, like, it's, you know, and you see that. I mean, you see that with the merchandise. We've been to Miniso today to the store, and you know, it's all very cute stuff in there, and that, you know, it's kind of cute, and that's fine, you know, because we don't even need to go back too far. Just go back to Force Awakens, and the focus really was BB-8
completely,
you know. So and it seems like the cuter characters, or the more fun characters, they sell the merch these days, as opposed to the really cool characters.
You go right back to 1977, and Jawas were kind of the cute characters in that film, even though we know the grotty, dirty little things. But R2 was you would say R2 was the cute one in that film. You step to Jedi, clearly it's the Ewoks. And so, you know, you can, Jar Jar's the goofy, fun character in Phantom Menace.
For the kids,
Totally. So you work your way through. Some films have a cool character. Darth Maul also in Phantom. Django in Attack of the Clones. You know, there's characters like Anakin is the standout in Sith. So you mix it up, but Star Wars can do that. Star Wars can make that
but that's how
work.
It appeals more universally, because it means that actually, you know,
something for everyone.
It's something for everyone. Now, if you've got a partner who's not really up on Star Wars or isn't particularly fussed about going to see it, just say we're going to go see the Grogu movie. Don't even mention Star Wars.
That's a good point.
You know, so.
We've said this before, haven't we? I think people could go and see that purely on the power of Grogu. And really, is there any? I mean, this is another definite tick in the box for the film, and its chances at having a good box office pull. Is there any other Star Wars film where you could say that?
No.
There literally isn't another one. No. It's the only one where you could go, it's the Grogu film. Go and see the Grogu film. It's cute. You've seen Grogu. He's on, pillowcases and pyjamas and...
vitamin bottles and, Robertson fruit juice and everything.
I hope you said vitamin and not Viagra. I thought you said Viagra.
No.
He's not that up.
Actually coming back to it, what I really liked was actually, there's clearly been development in Mando's kind of training of Grogu as an apprentice.
Yes.
Which I think's really worked really well. It doesn't feel like at any point they kind of jump the shark with like what Grogu's able to do, be it with the Force stuff or even like just like his survival tactics.
But it also feels, he's quite resourceful. I like the resourcefulness, the way he gets the Anzellans helping him, just the things he does on his own when Mando's down for a bit. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the power level for him lifting up is noticeable, but it's not suddenly like he's figured out how to crack the next level of the Force Unleashed or anything.
No, exactly.
It's subtle.
Yeah.
He's that little bit stronger, he's that little bit smarter.
He moves quite a few things and doesn't get wiped out like he did where he'd sleep for
that's true.
ages.
He used to just fall asleep, didn't he?
And actually, really, probably his biggest achievement to date. Well, actually, I don't know. I think his biggest achievement to date was probably the Book of Boba Fett.
What, with the Rancor?
Well, all the droids, the spidery droids.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I think there was enough kind of like hints towards that. Meant that, like, when it does happen, it doesn't kind of feel like out of nowhere.
But if I've been saying for a while, my gut tells me that Favreau's kind of wrapping it up.
Yeah.
I'm hearing from different people today that there's more stuff coming from Favreau. So if there is more stuff coming from Jon Favreau and it is still in the realms of the Mandoverse, which I would imagine it is, and if it isn't, great, let's try a shot at something different. But if it is, there's enough in that film there for you to pick up. If we were getting an episode of something next week and we're on the Delphi base and those characters are in it, because there's no character there that feels like it's exclusive to the cinema.
No, absolutely
You could have all of those characters in a TV show these days. That you could quite happily move on to the next mission in a season 4 or a New Republic TV show or something.
You see that's a back card of Most Wanted.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. Now, whether or not you would want to pursue that as another main story point.
Like a thread through a season?
Yeah. You could do that for probably a series, but for a film I think you would want to do something a bit more original. Other than Grogu in that, there was no discussion of the Force or his powers or anything. It was just accepted what he does, that's what he does, and moves on. I think that is something that could definitely be worth investigating and delving. So what do you do with this creature, who is clearly so powerful?
Were you expecting a legacy character? Are you expecting somebody like, oh my God, maybe not end of season 2? And again, I've had this discussion with plenty of people. We're at Power of the Force over the weekend in Cologne in Germany, and talking to John, who was with us, his opinion on that was very logical and very steady, in that we do kind of fall into the trap of expecting that kind of, oh my God,
I wasn't
all the time.
I really genuinely wasn't.
Good.
Because logically I didn't see where it would come in. Yeah. I think I was listening to another podcast and I talked about there's potential that you'd see the big 3 in the Millennium Falcon.
That's a big stretch, isn't it?
I just don't see how you can make that work unless they literally pass from a Razor Crest.
One's taken off, one's like seeing it in Revenge of the Sith or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was just like, I just didn't see anything.
Hi, this is Maria Sandoval, head hairstylist for the Star Wars universe, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
I think probably the only person that I was wondering if maybe they would have made an appearance was Giancarlo Esposito.
Okay.
You just get that feeling, whilst he clearly died in the end of season 3, you kind of go, well, yeah, but is he
have 15 clones, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Did he have loads of clones, or was he was this the 16th clone or something like that?
Was he the guy they were going after, the unnamed face they were going after?
And so, because I thought, well, that's how you would tie it in to the actual series.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about Mandalorian because
he
gets his helmet off, and I do like the way that actually the Hutts did that. I thought that was a good device as a way to really stick it to him.
Yeah, but it also put a noose around their neck as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is again, it's a good way to motivate how you're going to reconcile that story point.
I mean, that's a great story point as you pick up on there. The whole Hutt thing, the twins. There's a power vacuum now.
Yeah.
So there's spaces for characters to move into new positions now.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that at the end of it, Rotter wants to join the New Republic and fly an X-Wing or something.
Yeah, Mando's like, I don't think this is for you. I don't think you're going to fit in. Zeb's like, hell yeah, I've got a jacket you can wear.
Yeah,
Come with me.
Well, I mean, it'd fit in a U-Wing. Easy. But, I'm sure they would make it, like, retrofit something to fit around.
Easily.
It was surprising, but it meant that it's quite cool. And what I also like is, like, the use of a droid gotcha.
Droid gotcha's been around for forever and a day, isn't it, as a concept?
Yeah.
We've never really seen it to any great degree.
I mean, like, I don't
I think we did in the Marvel comics.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was introduced in the Old Republic, like the MMO, but it's definitely like a large quest there to do with that.
I mean, there's so much more, actually. You saying that, there's so much more in that you could explore if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
The more we talk it out, the more you think, actually, there's loads of places they could take what's happened in that story.
You could develop it out, because, like, there's a power vacuum because there's a Hutt cartel without a leader now.
Yeah.
So where does that go?
There's an element of the Imperial remnant that's lost its leader.
Yeah. And that wasn't Hoth, was it?
No. I mean, if it was, they really didn't make anything of it.
No, I mean, I'm sure...
They didn't even name the planet.
No, they didn't name the planet. I'm sure they probably will do in, like, the Visual Dictionary or something like that.
You'd like to think,
guide. But, like, to me, it never made sense for it to be Hoth.
No.
Because, like,
they did say on the Outer Rim, Hoth's on the Outer Rim. They did say that, but they didn't...
But apart from that, I mean...
It's just a snowy planet.
It was just a snowy planet.
Email radio@fanthatracks.com. Head to links.fanthatracks.com for links to our social media feeds, Fanthatracks TV and Fanthatracks Radio. Thanks to James Semple for the Fanthatracks intro, Blues Harvest for our Making Tracks opening music, and Mark Daniel and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 o'clock UK time. Our weekly news show Good Morning Tatooine goes live Sundays at 9 o'clock UK time on Facebook and YouTube. And remember, Fanthatracks is absolutely free, so it costs nothing to stay updated on all the latest Star Wars news.
We desperately want to hear your thoughts on Mando when you see it. It's your opinion, that's what matters, not what me and Mark thinks. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
May the Force be with you, and we'll see you down the road.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's Making Tracks.